Hey everybody, it's F-Bomb, and as promised, I'm going to do a review of all the new war paints in the Scream Fortress case. I'm going to start off in the Mercenary tier and then work my way up to the Elite tier. So our first paint is Team Blackout. It's an incredibly simple design, basically black for either team with a red or deep blue highlight, but that's all it is. It's really just a highlight. The amount of simplicity almost reminds me of a civilian grade paint. I think it looks a little bit better. The wears don't really change things too much. It's kind of what you'd expect. I do like the color of red. It's a little bit too simple for my taste, but it is Mercenary grade, so I give it a passing grade, maybe a B tier. Next up is Brawler's Iron. Honestly, when I first saw this, I thought, wow, Bomber Soul and Swashbuckled just had a child together. This is what Swashbuckled looked like, so you can see the placement of that Jolly Roger sticker is the same on both. For most weapons, not all weapons have the same placement. But yeah, I look at this and I kind of think to myself, this doesn't do anything better than Swashbuckled or Bomber Soul, so did we really need it? What niche does it fill? Again, the wears look pretty bad on the lower wears. They look okay at factory new, but yeah, I don't know. This one doesn't really do much for me. I'd give it D tier. Next up is Team Charge. Very bright in blue and in red. Kind of reminds me of Snowflake Swirled in that respect. It is also one of your basic sticker paints. And it doesn't help that the sticker itself isn't very interesting. It's just a basic lightning bolt shape. Didn't really need to be in the game. D tier, F tier maybe even. Let's just move on. So next up is Sleek Greek. This one, I kind of like these little wave shapes. I think they were hoping this level of simplicity would make it clean, but honestly, I find it kind of bland. So blue looks a little bit better than red team. I think also the pattern that's on this paint is not locked in a given direction. Yeah, see if you randomize it, it can be different directions. That feels a little lazy to me. Not a big fan of this one. I'd say D tier. Gobi Glazed is basically bronze. It's like your weapons are made out of bronze. You can get the same type of effect by just messing with your matte Fong settings. I honestly think it's fine, but it reminds me a lot of Warborn, but just Warborn was better done with better textures. Honestly, this one is just not for me. I'd probably give it a C tier. Next up is Team Detail. I had to do a double take when I saw this because it's so generic. It reminded me of Team Serviced, or honestly even some of the civilian grade war paints that came out before. It's barely a color highlight. This just feels very low effort to me. Look at Team Service. If anything, Team Service is more interesting, but this is basically the exact same paint. If I unbox this, I'd be disappointed. I'd say F tier. All right, so going to the Commando grade tier, we've got Graphite Gripped. Guess they're going for kind of a lead, like pencil lead color. It's very washed out. I guess on something like the Winger removes the yellow color, but this just feels an awful lot like Kill Covered, but less interesting, or heck, Secretly Serviced in the last case was basically the exact same paint. Yeah, it's hard to tell the difference between these two. I give it an F tier. This one is not how oh, okay, so this is one of the paints that's radically different depending on what wear you have. So it looks like anything from Battle Scarred to Field Tested is incredibly bloody, and then Factory New and Min wear look pretty clean, like the scales of a fish. That's pretty neat, the custom wears. I almost feel like they kind of overdid it. Like on the lower wears, you don't get to see a lot of the detail of the teeth and the scales, and I feel like that's a little bit of a shame. I do know that some of the weapons have a cool piranha eye on it, like the rocket launcher there. I'm pretty sure that if you randomize the seed, the eye does not change locations, like it's locked into a given place. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like here on the Power Jack, if I randomize it, the eye will always be there. I think that looks really cool. It's very creative. I give this one, this is probably my favorite so far in the case. I give it an A tier. Next up is Stealth Specialist. This one is another, honestly, pretty bland one. I think it was going for kind of like what Business Class did in the last case. I guess I like that it has that cool logo from the Warbird case. Again, I worry that they were going for clean, but leaned too hard into it and ended up in bland territory. I think this is a C tier, probably at best. Let's move on. Assassin tier now. We start off with Necro Polish. I really like this one. They did a fantastic job with the details of the tiles, like the texturing on it looks really good, looks very much like you could reach out and touch it and feel the grout. I also like how the base color is also textured that way, but they kept it more of a cleaner eggshell white. I love how clean and unique this skin is. Should be an assassin grade, easy S tier for me. The other assassin grade is Stardust. This design is incredibly early 90s and I love it for that. It really just screams something you'd see on a Trapper Keeper in 1991. I also like that the base color is kind of that darker purple. I am a sucker for the purple color scheme. It reminds me a little bit like a successor to Jazzy, where Jazzy kind of had those crazy designs on it as well. I know those came from a coffee cup, but yeah, this aims for early 90s aesthetic and it nails it. Very clean. I like it. I'm gonna give this one an A tier. I think it does what it meant to do. Next up is our only elite grade in this case. Oof. Here you can kind of see what they were going for, which is a vinyl record. So that's where you get that black color and that texture on it. Unfortunately, the way it applies to most weapons, you would never guess that it's trying to emulate a vinyl record. And if you're gonna make your primary color scheme be a vinyl record, which is black, you gotta be a little bit more bold or creative with what the complementary texture color scheme is gonna be. And this red and blue, it's kinda generic, doesn't really feel like an elite tier to me. D tier for me. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of this warpaint case and which is your favorite warpaint in it. Thanks as always for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, consider subscribing. Happy Halloween, everybody.